Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen.
Dude, I want to start off with one of our comments from last time from our good buddy Jesse.
Oh, we got a comment?
We got a comment.
What is it?
He said, I think it's important to remember that Noah's Ark was a ship, and that ship might have resembled a spacecraft. And putting the genetics of many animals in small test tubes is a lot easier to transport and eliminates the concern of other animals eating other animals. Think about it.
So
So, good comment. I'm actually on that side. I think that's more realistic than
here's the thing.
kangaroos swimming across the ocean.
In any other circumstance, I would immediately dismiss that it was a spaceship with, test tube vials of animal DNA. But compared to the actual story of Noah's Ark, I think Jesse's might be more plausible. So I'll give him that. Good job. Thank you, Jesse. All right, real quick. The only main thing happening today in news is the Supreme Court has given out all the rulings over the last 2 days, yesterday and today. And I have them. We're going to talk a little bit about them, but there's some funny things that I kind of wanted to get to first because I meant to talk about them last time when we ran out of time. First of all, real quick, remember I told you last time that Donald Trump has announced kind of I guess, another ceasefire. We've always been in the ceasefire, but Donald Trump announced Sunday night that everything's fine. We're going to meet with Iran this week. He had a tweet on Monday where he said Iran has requested a meeting. It will take place tomorrow in Doha, and Doha's in Qatar. Iran came out immediately afterward and said, we did not request a meeting and we're not going to this meeting. And all day yesterday, people from the White House were saying, no, Iran requested the meeting. We're meeting. They just have to say that. Well, lo and behold, we got Kushner and Witkoff there. Iran is not going to the meeting. It turns out they're going to meet with Qatar, and then Qatar is going to relay what they talk about to Iran as the mediator. But Iran did not show. After
Why
all
is
day,
Kushner there? Kushner needs to go away.
have you seen all the stuff about Kushner's fundraising and then the Donald Trump's kids, Eric and Don Jr.? Where there's some kind of a rare earth mineral mine in Kazakhstan or so. Have you seen all that?
Yeah, I did see that Kushner was him and Ivanka are trying to build that island in Belarus, and there's like protests in the streets, like the entirety of Belarus is protesting this.
That is happening. I'll have to get the details on it, but apparently, some country discovered that they are rich in some mineral, lithium or something like that. And before America made a big deal with them, Donald Trump, or sorry, Don Jr. and Eric started a company and basically entered a partnership with this country, and then we made a huge deal with them for their minerals. So it very much looks like they were tipped off by their dad, and now they're going to get billions of dollars out of it. So
That's
corrupt,
cool.
corrupt as can be. Anyhow, this is from NBC News. Iranian and U.S. negotiating teams were due in Doha this week, but Iran says no meeting has been scheduled as weekend missiles fired from both sides tested the interim ceasefire to end the 4-month-old war. I like how our media is killing me because from the moment that Trump said they requested a meeting, Al Jazeera and all the European outlets were saying Iran's not going to this. They said they're not going. They never requested it. Our media wasn't talking about that at all. Like they were afraid to upset Trump and go against what he said. And then even today, they're kind of like, well, it appears that Iran might not be showing up. Iran's been saying for almost 48 hours they're not going to show up. So our media needs to step up. Quit being afraid to upset Trump. This is getting ridiculous.
Well, it's all owned by Trump loyalists. I mean, you got I heard what's her name, Barry Weiss is now in charge of CNN, and she's basically locked in an office with armed guards at the top of the CNN building. Like,
So
what?
she's not at the CNN building. I think the armed guards thing, I don't think that's true, but she has walled herself off. Like she's not there for meetings and stuff because she knows she's just going to catch shit wherever she goes. So I don't know how long they're going to play this out. Like people think Bari Weiss is failing because she's crushing CBS numbers. She's going to crush CNN's numbers. Everybody says she's failing. I don't think she is. Like you got to think, what is her job? It's her job to destroy those places because that's kind of what I think it is. So
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at. Is
that's
yeah,
just
she's there
ridiculous.
to destroy the actual media.
Yeah, the mainstream media. All the people that are clamoring to get rid of the mainstream media, like they don't understand that the only people doing investigative journalism right now is the mainstream media. Everybody like I've said this to you before, but all the podcasts that talk about how you can't trust the mainstream media, they'll say that, and then the rest of their show, they'll sit there and talk about like here's what the main like here's a report from the New York Times or here's a report from blah blah blah. They're all of their content is based on reporting from the mainstream media. Without the mainstream media, they would have nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
It irritates me.
But they have to have an enemy to go after. That's the thing.
Yep. Real quick, you brought up the Great American State Fair last time, and I hadn't seen a whole lot about it, but I've seen a whole lot more in the past week. First of all, have you seen any of the clips from Fox News? Fox News is broadcasting live from the Great American State Fair this week. Have you seen any of the intros?
The only thing I've really seen is them broadcasting and like it was other channels making fun of how there's nobody in the background.
Oh, that's so they have it set up to where they're like on a podium, but they have their news desk, and behind them, you're supposed to be able to see all the people at the fair, and it's just empty grass as far as you can see. Um, there was a clip, and I got to show you this, but Dr. Oz and Dean Cain were on stage at the Great American State Fair. Dean Cain, if you'll remember, played Superman on a TV show on like the WB back in the day. Um,
Okay.
there's several like actors, celebrities that have like a permanent role on Fox that it's like who Dean Cain did like one show. Why do we care what he has to say? But he's on Fox all the time. But it's those two on stage, and I want you to pay attention. It's Dr. Oz speaking. Pay attention to what he says as you're seeing what you're seeing with your eyes.
And it's because there's tons of people here. It's a huge space, and it's just going to get more and more crowded as the week goes on.
Not only do we have a lot of people here, we have people that you want to have here, like Stacey Garrity. That woman's going to be next governor of Pennsylvania.
There
right
we
there.
go.
Yep, look
Hello,
at her.
Governor.
There's 40 people there.
We have tons of people here. Here's the thing. A lot of the clips we're seeing very well could be like from middle of the weekday and maybe this weekend. This weekend's the 4th of July. I would expect it's going to be more packed on 4th of July weekend. That
Yes.
being said,
But this is on the National Mall, and from what I understand, the National Mall would have like 50 times more people just on a regular day, on a regular week.
people are avoiding. Apparently, it's hard to get in. Like you have to go through all kinds of security protocols to get in. I read this morning that they started planning for this in the last year of Obama's term. So 2015 is when they started, or I guess 2016 they started planning for this, and they had a planning committee going from 2016 all the way till 2024. And then when Trump won this time, he came in and his people basically threw away all the work that they'd been doing, and they said, "Oh, we know how to do this," and they started from scratch, and this is their version of what they wanted to do.
You know, anybody can put together a party, except for apparently the Trump administration.
Yeah, I don't know. So I think he is speaking Saturday night out there. So we'll see. I would assume that there'll be good pictures that he can show of a full on for his speech on the fireworks. I would assume.
Okay, yeah.
The rest of this has been embarrassing. I was gonna say, speaking of embarrassing, this is frustrating. Is the best way I can say it. But there's one tent. So, hold on, what are you gonna say?
I was gonna say it's not only embarrassing and frustrating, it's expensive.
Yeah, the money they've spent on this. But hold on, let me show you what I'm about to show you, because then you can help me decide if this is embarrassing or frustrating. But there is one specific tent that I've seen a bunch online. It's called David's tent. David having some biblical meaning here. But I want you to watch this video of David's tent and tell me what you see.
So this is the tent where they're baptizing people?
They're baptizing people at the Great American State Fair. They got an above ground pool for it.
And they
then
have the American flag and the Israeli flag side by side?
Yeah, this is the Great American State Fair. What are we doing?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, is that more? Which ones? They're both about as bad as because last time we covered how they had like the Confederate flag all over some of these booths.
Yeah, well, South Carolina, because that was their state flag, but it's weird.
That wasn't their state flag. It was incorporated into their state flag, but they had the actual just the Confederate flags. Like I saw the video.
Yeah.
You showed me the video. Yeah. Just the Confederate flags.
Yeah. Anyhow, back to David's tent real quick. Like, I don't know how I feel about this because the whole separation of church and state, this is a taxpayer funded event happening on the National Mall, and we're doing baptisms there. Like, I don't love that. But then when you see the flags, I'm like, oh, wait, why is that one flag? Like, so in the last couple of days, Elon Musk posted a picture of it was probably one of the New York socialist communist candidates that Trump's complaining about, but they were posing and there was a Palestinian flag behind them. And Elon said, any elected official that flies any flag other than the American flag is a traitor to our nation or something like that. And several Republicans jumped on board, Nancy Mace being one of them, and said, yeah, anybody who flies anything but the American flag. And then in the comments immediately under it was all the Republican officials that in their office have an American flag and an Israeli flag beside their desk. For some reason, that one's okay. We can fly that one in the Capitol building in the Great American State Fair, but any other flag, you'd be a traitor, but not that one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it would be one thing. Like it's like okay, we're allies with Israel,
Mhm.
but like to put their flag, I don't know. It's not. It's just it's icky, and the fact that they've been doing all this just disgusting things across the Middle East, it's horrible.
Yeah.
We support this. Why are we supporting this?
I don't know, and I wish we wouldn't. But also that whole where we're merging our intelligence and defense with theirs, like legislatively, like that's going through right now. So we're tightening our bond with Israel. Like we're almost making it to where our intelligence and military will be one with Israel. Really weird. I don't. And people keep stepping up, trying to like.
Seems illegal, highly illegal.
There's been a couple different people, Thomas Massey being one of them, who are trying to stop this from going through, and every time it gets voted down. So, and it's not just, I'll say this, it's not just Republicans that are in favor of this. A lot of Democrats are in favor of it too. So it's not a one-side issue. Scary. The other thing is, as long as we're going to,
it just means more money for Israel.
Yeah. As long as we're talking a little bit of religion here, this video I want to get your take on. So you know what a VBS, what is it? Vacation Bible School. Are you familiar with those? In the summer, you said
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think we both had back in the day. This is one in Kentucky, and I'm going to set the scene for you. The preacher has got a bunch of kids and some parents in this little church, and they are talking about immigration and the need to round up all the illegals and get them out of here. And then they do a demonstration. Just watch this and tell me what you think.
Take him out, blow him up. 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 Help him out, Commando.
What in the actual fuck?
Yeah. What were they chaining there? Like, get them out and blow them up or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
The quote was praise the Lord and pass the ammunition.
Somebody put that on the video. I don't think that's not what the church was saying. That was whoever posted it. But
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. But a demonstration of ICE hunting down an illegal and shooting them and then dragging their body out for the kids.
That was in the Kentucky booth?
No, that's not at the state fair. That's just in Kentucky at a vacation Bible school.
Oh.
So, but what the? I
mean, that's horrible for the children to see that. Like
the kids were jumping up and down, happy, like they loved it. They loved every second of it.
Aren't these the same people that said that video games we're too violent and causing more violence
Well,
in our
what you
country?
don't understand, Docs, is that violence against illegals is totally fine. God would be okay with that.
God would be okay with violence against illegals.
I think he actually said something about it in the Bible is kill all the illegals.
Nobody's illegal, man.
I will say
You can't
that
just be illegal.
the thing the left says, not the left, but some people, nobody can be illegal on stolen land. And no, most of America doesn't give a shit when you say that. People need to stop. I know you didn't say that, but for the people out there saying that, that's not
But
helping.
just to say like a human being is illegal for living in one part of the world over another, like imaginary drawn lines in the sand.
Yeah.
Like, it's dumb.
I I get you. The little bit of Republican I still have left in me. I'm for borders and I'm for secure borders. I think we need immigrants in our country, and I think we should have a better system of figuring out who gets to come in and making sure that they're vetted properly. Like there is a gray area here with immigration that neither side wants to acknowledge. Actually, I take that back. In the Biden administration, President Biden and Senator James Lankford from Oklahoma put together a bipartisan border bill that would have solved most of this, and Trump killed it. So
That's
we
true.
kind of found the middle ground, and then both sides retreated back. So a little ridiculous. Anyhow, and then the only other before we get to the Supreme Court, the only other fun thing, Donald Trump. You remember? I'm going to take you back in time real quick. But remember when Kamala was running for president and she was talking about corporations that are price gouging us and making too much profit and how the government should do something about that? You remember any of that?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that for sure.
What did they call her for saying that? They said that was socialism. That's communism. The government can't tell corporations how much to charge.
Communism.
Straight up communism. Well, Donald Trump, and I believe this was this morning, posted a tweet that says gasoline retailers must get their prices down immediately. They're too high considering that oil is now $68 a barrel and heading south. Retailers must quickly react to this statement and do what they know is right. Drop your price for our great American people. There will be no gouging, which is totally illegal. If retailers don't do this, big problems lay ahead. So he's threatening them. Start targeting around $2.50 a gallon number. And California should stop charging such heavy taxes on their gasoline. Soon the tax will be higher than the product itself. He goes on. He told them a number. He said target $2.50 a gallon, or big problems lie ahead. Like the government's going to come after you. That's well beyond anything Kamala Harris said about corporations not gouging us. This guy is taking government ownership in several companies. I don't even know. I think it's like 15 to 20 companies now that the government is taking ownership in, and he's telling gasoline retailers what price to sell their gas for. And then he's going to turn around tomorrow and complain about the communists in New York. Like, what are we doing here?
It's frustrating. It's frustrating. I mean, yeah, Trump is not a Republican.
He's not even a capitalist sometimes. Like he is sometimes, but then in other very key ways, like he's not.
How is he not a capitalist?
Right there, the government, first of all, the government taking ownership in companies, number one, but also the government setting a price that he's saying here, $2.50 a gallon, or big problems lie ahead. Like capitalism, the way that it's meant to be is that if the companies are charging too much, then the people will stop buying it. The market will dictate. The market will tell them, hey, your price is too high. We're not buying it anymore. So if you want us to buy it, you need to lower your price. That's what and I'm not saying I fully agree with all aspects of capitalism. I'm just telling you what capitalism is. Trump doesn't believe in it.
Yeah. And is that socialism then?
You know, I think it's beyond socialism. We really need to do a show where we break down the difference between communism and socialism. But I feel like the government flat out telling a company what they can sell something for, I feel like that goes past socialism. That's dancing near communism. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's my gut feeling on it.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think that's communism.
That's crazy.
But
anyhow. And then sorry, if you don't mind, one last thing before we get to the Supreme Court rulings. Donald Trump has given us a gift, Docs, and we should be happy that he has given us this gift.
The White House pretty stupid. Oh no. Is that on the front of the White House?
That's right on the balcony where the president sometimes gives speeches. There wasn't enough gold on the
Oh
exterior
God.
of the White House.
Oh, so this is where he's gonna start making the speeches in front of the
That
Golden Eagle?
that's where presidents they do some speeches up there on the balcony. They go up there and wave to people on like Easter egg roll and all that. That's where he was looking up when he looked up at the eclipse with no sunglasses on.
Uh,
Um, so A, it's more gold on the White House. I find that to be tacky. That's my personal taste. But B, that looks familiar. Like it took me about 2 seconds to think, where do I know this from in history?
oh geez.
Yeah,
Oh
so
geez.
the Nazi Party was really into eagles. It's not exactly
Yeah.
the same, but it's the same and no, it's just here's the thing. If nothing else going on was kind of Nazi fascist, then I'd give this a pass. But with all the other things going on, and then you throw this on top of it, it's like it's a little too close, buddy. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, this is man, we're just in a weird time where I don't understand why they keep doing these things that resemble dictatorships, Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, and if you were gonna try and like pull it, if you're gonna try and like pull but they're doing it out in the open. They're not like trying to like pretend that it's not happening. They're doing it like blatantly out in the open.
Well, and the other thing, real quick, the one he put up on the balcony, it's got 11 stars, which 11 stars is for the South in the Confederacy. There are 11 southern states. You might like you would do either 13 for the original 13 colonies. The fact that there's 11 stars, the only correlation to that is that there was 11 Confederate states. I don't know if he knows that, and maybe it's totally coincidental, but a lot of people picked up on that online right away. Why are there
No,
why are there 11 stars? What is the significance of 11? Well,
yes. Yeah. I mean, my guess is that Stephen Miller put this together.
yeah, I think you might be right.
And whether it's a troll or not, they're still fucking fascists,
Just a tad.
racists.
I don't. It's one of those where, like I said, I'd love to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I just can't at this point. Like, there's too many little things that one by itself, okay, but all the little things add up, and it's like it almost looks intentional at this point.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
All right. Anyhow, we're gonna run through the Supreme Court rulings. I don't know a lot about a lot of them, so I'm just gonna tell you what I know. If you have questions, we'll have to look it up for later. But yesterday, first ruling come out. Breaking: the Supreme Court has rejected President Trump's push to toss a $5 million verdict in the E. Jean Carroll sexual abuse case. So he lost that one. He doesn't care about the $5 million. He cares about the fact that that ruling pretty much says that yes, he sexually abused the author E. Jean Carroll back in like the 80s. He wanted that thrown out. Supreme Court wouldn't do it. Props to the Supreme Court. The rulings, I will say, some of them went his way and some of them definitely didn't go his way. So it was kind of a mixed bag. The other one that came out yesterday, the Supreme Court says Federal Reserve's Lisa Cook can keep her job for now, but it upholds other firings by President Trump. This is an interesting one. Lisa Cook was the lady that was a member of the Fed, and I read a little bit of their ruling. They didn't give any legal justification. They understand that if the president can control the Fed, the markets will crash really quickly. The markets have very clearly said they want the Fed to be independent. So with every other office in the executive branch, they pretty much said Trump can fire anybody he wants anytime he wants. But the Fed is different. A lot of people are freaking out because they're like, well, now Trump's going to just start putting all of his people in all these positions. He's already done that. Okay. Like he's doing that. It doesn't matter. I think this is a good ruling if you're against what Trump is doing, because now this means if President Gavin Newsom or AOC or whoever it's going to be comes in 2029, for no reason whatsoever, they can fire everybody that Trump installed. It was going to be hard. Like it was going to be real hard to go through and get all the Trump people out because he's sticking them everywhere. They are putting his followers everywhere. Now the Supreme Court has given a green light to go in and fire all of Trump's people ASAP when he leaves office. So I think that everybody's saying that's a win for Trump. I'm looking at the backside. I think it's a win for 2029.
Okay, yeah. Well, granted, Trump leaves office.
Okay, true. Or, if JD Vance wins, which real quick, JD Vance went on Bill Maher Friday night before the weekend, and I thought Bill Maher handled him really well, but I've talked to so many people that are like, "Oh, JD Vance did so good. That's why we love him. He did a great job on Bill Maher's show." And I'm like, I must have been watching something different, but whatever. The other one that
Huh.
this is the one that really pissed Trump off yesterday. Breaking. The Supreme Court rules states can count late arriving mailed in ballots, rejecting a challenge led by the Trump administration. So, this is the whole deal where, like in California, you just have to have your ballot in the mailbox postmarked by election day, and then it has like 7 days to come in after the election. Several states have that rule. The Supreme Court said that's absolutely fine. They can keep doing that. Trump is super pissed about it, but basically, no change to mail in ballots heading into 2026, at least for the midterms.
Okay.
So,
And he still hasn't gotten his big beautiful. Well, wait, what was the bill called? His other bill in Save America Act or something.
the Save America Act is no mail-in voting, voter ID, which that's a Trojan horse of a bill because that the Save America Act has a lot in it. And like one of the key things people keep bringing up is if you're a woman who has gotten married and changed your last name to your husband's last name, then you have to jump through all kinds of hoops to be able to vote because your legal name now is not the same as your legal name on your birth certificate. But what
Mhm.
Trump keeps saying is he keeps saying, "What? It's voter ID. Almost 80% of America is in favor of voter ID. Why isn't this passing?" You know what? If it was just voter ID, I think it might pass, honestly. Like it might pass, but it's not just voter ID. It's a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
He should try to put just a straight voter ID bill on the floor and see how that does. He might be shocked. It might pass. But
True. Yeah.
anyhow, starting with today, um, this is one that we're going to have to get into detail on in a later episode. But breaking. The Supreme Court strikes down limits on party spending in federal elections, backing a Republican appeal. I didn't know that this was even a case in front of the Supreme Court right now, but what this is kind of an extension on Citizens United. Most people in America think that billionaires having their hands in our politics and being able to spend, what Elon Musk spent, what, like 250 million, Mary Madelson spent the same. Most
Something like
people
that.
most
Yeah.
people are against that. This ruling makes it easier for them to do that. So before this ruling, like you could donate only a certain amount of money to a candidate. Like if you want to donate to a specific candidate, there's a limit to what you can donate, but you can donate to either a super PAC or just straight up to the RNC, the Republican National Committee. You can donate all you want to them. Now there's rules about how they spend their money on candidates. They're not supposed to coordinate it all. If you run a super, and this happens all the time, but this is what the rule is supposed to be. If you run a super PAC, you cannot coordinate with whoever you're trying to make an ad for in any way, shape, or form. It's supposed to be totally walled off and separate. Everybody knows that doesn't happen. They have consultants that float back and forth between the campaign and the super PAC, but that's the way it's supposed to be. Same with if you're the RNC. And right now, the RNC, the Republicans have a lot more money in their war chest than the Democrats do heading into 2026. There used to be rules about how much they could spend on an individual race and that they had to not be coordinating with that candidate. Those rules are gone now. You can spend as much as you want. So Elon Musk could give $500 million to the RNC, and then the RNC could work hand in hand with what's his name? Ken Paxton in Texas going up against Tallarico. So it's a way that you can easily funnel a lot of billionaire money straight to a candidate. So if you want to get dark money out of
Yeah.
politics, this did the opposite.
What was the ruling from the Supreme Court during the Obama administration that allowed corporations to act as a personal entity?
So that was Citizens United, and that was right before the Obama. That was actually in the Obama versus who was he going up against in that first? Or John McCain. It was during that race that Citizens United got decided.
And everybody pretty much agrees that that is like makes politics more corrupt.
Yes, everybody. I feel like most of the country thinks that Citizens United should be done away with, and instead
Yeah.
the Supreme Court extended upon that today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
It's crazy.
You know who you have to thank for this newest Supreme Court ruling? JD Vance. So when JD Vance was running for Senate in 2018, there was this tech billionaire that nobody's ever heard of named Peter Thiel. that wanted to funnel money to J.D. Vance. He wanted to be able to give him unlimited amount of money to win his Senate seat in Ohio. And there were rules about what he could do and how he could funnel it to him. So J.D. Vance started this lawsuit that has slowly worked its way up and finally got in front of the Supreme Court. This is from a publication called The Lever. But J.D. Vance's master plan for Citizens United 2.0. The vice presidential candidate is helping spearhead a lawsuit designed to prompt the Supreme Court's destruction of some of the country's last remaining campaign finance laws. This was written back in September 2024, so right before the election. But this is J.D. Vance's team has been working hard on this, and they succeeded. So congrats to them. Billionaires basically can more easily control our elections now.
Yeah, it's an oligarchy at this point. We're run by the billionaires.
It's really bad. And then the last major one that they came out with today, this is the one that's really pissing Trump off. Breaking: the Supreme Court upholds birthright citizenship, rejecting Trump's proposed limits. So he tried to do away with birthright citizenship, which is in the Constitution, and he tried to do away with that via a presidential proclamation or an executive order. What's sad is this should have been 9-0, and I think it was 6-3. There were 3 Republicans that said, no, he should be able to do that, which is the Republicans, especially the ones on the Supreme Court, claim that they're originalists. They like to do exactly what the Constitution says, and they were ready to just throw out the 14th Amendment for the president today. It's scary that it was 6-3. Anyhow, Trump was bent on a little bit of a tear. This is Trump's tweet afterward. The Supreme Court upheld birthright citizenship, which is too bad for our country, but we can easily make it up in Congress through legislation with the support of the president that has now been determined during this process. No long and unwieldy constitutional amendment is necessary. Congress should start today. He's completely wrong on that. And several people jumped out, constitutional lawyers jumped out on this right away. But he's saying that Congress can just pass a law and that we don't have to do a constitutional amendment to end birthright citizenship.
Okay.
Are you walking right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
sorry.
I'm just trying to figure out if I get closer to my router, if it's going to be better or not. So.
Okay.
Is it better?
Yeah. Do you need a second?
No, I'm good.
Okay. There we go. There you are. Hold on. So a constitutional amendment, and the reason it's hard to do is because you need 2/3 of the House to vote for it, 2/3 of the Senate to vote for it, and then 3/4 of the states, that's 38 states, to do a constitutional amendment, which is what you need to amend the Constitution. Trump is telling everybody now, no, we can just do it. We can do it with a majority in the House and 50 votes in the Senate. I hope they waste their time on that. Like, I really do. I hope that he puts a lot of effort into trying to do legislation to overturn this, because it's not going to work. So
okay,
good on him. And then there was one other one, and man, I get weary of even talking about this. But breaking: the Supreme Court upholds state laws banning transgender girls and women from school athletic teams. So there are a handful of states that have laws that say whatever's on your birth certificate, that's your gender, that's the sport you have to play. They upheld that, and they said every state can make its own rules in this. Let me say this. I don't like both sides' position on this, because both sides have this black and white thing. The left thinks like, no, it's black and white. If someone decides that they're a girl, then they're a girl and they can play in girl sports. And I'm like, no, hold on, wait. Like, what do you, like? I could just go down to the YMCA right now and be like, yeah, I'm a lady. I'm going to play in the women's basketball league. No, you can't do that. But the rights also got this backwards, because they got this whole like, oh, well, whatever's on your birth certificate is what you are. End of story. No discussion. That's a dangerous area. And I always bring up this one example, but this was in, I think, like 2018 in Dallas-Fort Worth area. I think it was in Euless, maybe. But there was a female wrestler who was transitioning to become a boy. She was taking testosterone. If you saw a picture of her, she looked like she was almost there, fully becoming a boy. And she wanted to wrestle in the boys division. She was a high school wrestler. And Texas said, nope, you have to do what's on your birth certificate. And a lot of people were looking at it going, hey, she's going to beat the shit out of all these ladies. She's been taking testosterone. And she did. She won the state championship. Okay. there's a gray area here. You can't just say whatever's on your birth certificate is what you are. The gray area is hard. Like there are weird cases
Yeah.
where that
I
Algier. Go ahead.
My thought is you don't leave it up to the states or the US government. You leave it up to every individual sports league. That's the way it should be. Like the state and the US government should have nothing to do with any of this. These are rules set in place by each individual sports league. And if they want to go one way or another, let them do that. It doesn't like
So I'll say that I have no problem with letting the leagues decide.
that our politicians have stepped into this.
Yeah, I have no problem with letting the leagues decide. I agree with you there. What I didn't want today, and this is the little bit of Republican in me, is I don't want the Supreme Court coming out with a federal law that every state has to follow. Like I don't like that at all. Like I want I've told you this before, but at the lowest level, I want it decided, whether that be the states or the individual leagues, whatever. I'm cool with that.
Why is our government stepping in and getting involved in this?
No idea. Every now and then Congress will hold like a hearing with like major league, like this is back in the day, this is like the late 90s or early 2000s, but when steroids were a big problem in baseball, Congress was bringing in people from the MLB to testify in front of Congress about steroids in baseball. And it's like, what does this have to do with Congress
Why?
at all? Like, let the commissioner of the National Major League Baseball figure that out. The NFL, just in the last couple of months, the NFL has been in front of Congress, and it has to do with streaming football. And if you want to watch every football game, you have to have like 7 different apps to be able to watch all the football games, and Congress got involved in that. Okay, but like if we're doing capitalism, if the NFL wants to do that, which I don't love, I hate that honestly, but if the NFL wants to do that, let the market respond to that. But for some reason, Congress gets involved in that. So
Yeah, I mean, it could be an FCC rule.
I don't think it
Was
was.
It wasn't even FCC, it was just Congress.
If it was, they never brought that up. They were basically just berating the NFL the whole time.
Weird times, man. Weird times.
Yeah. So anyhow, that's everything with the Supreme Court. And then this is just something to kind of get you alerted for next time, because this is something I'd love to talk about. But we haven't talked about Gaza in a while. Gaza is flying under the radar big time. Trump's Board of Peace. Remember when he set up the Board of Peace and then we never heard anything about it after that?
Yeah, I remember the Board of Peace.
Yeah. Well, check out this headline I just saw. This was just yesterday.
Board of Peace. Trump's Board of Peace plans to grant itself sweeping immunity. Documents show. Immunity for what?
Why would they need sweeping immunity? And how do they have the power to grant themselves? Like, if they were trying to get somebody else to grant them immunity, maybe, but how do they have the power? They're not a government. How can they grant themselves immunity?
From potential prosecution for work in Gaza. Oh my God. Okay.
What are they planning to do? From the article, real quick, the unsanctioned Board of Peace announced by Donald Trump earlier this year to rule Gaza is planning a sweeping grant of legal immunity for itself, according to a draft of the resolution obtained by The Guardian. The draft language would also let the organization obtain public property in Gaza free of charge. Okay, so the Board of Peace is going to obtain public property in Gaza. Basically, they're going to steal the land in Gaza, is what I'm gathering. It goes on.
We knew that was going to happen, didn't we?
We did. It goes on. The 4-page resolution labeled sensitive but unclassified extends broad protections to every member of the Board of Peace and its administrative affiliate, the Office of the High Representative, as well as the Palestinian technocrats, international military forces, and non-resident contractors lined up to perform work in Gaza. It defines legal processes from which they would have immunity as any arrest, detention, or legal proceeding in the courts or other entities in Gaza. So you can't sue them, you can't arrest them, you can't do it. Whatever they're going to do in Gaza, there is no recourse for whatsoever. How do they have the right to how do they think they can grant themselves? That's like me walking outside and being like, I'm granting myself immunity from anything illegal I do today. And then if I get in trouble, telling the cop, like, no, it's cool, I gave myself immunity. How does that work?
Yeah. No, 100%. I don't know. And who are they giving immunity from? Like the International Court of Law?
The only way it would work is if it's like, yeah, with the ICC, the International Criminal Court, or the UN. Like if the article said
Mm,
one of those two bodies was giving them immunity, it would still be bullshit, but at least there would be some legal backing to it. This, I don't see how there's any legal backing to this whatsoever.
yeah.
Anyhow, I just
This
wanted you to
is
see
just
that.
Trump saying, like, yeah, I give myself immunity.
Total immunity. So to him and everybody that
Total
does
immunity. Yeah.
anybody that does any work on behalf of the Board of Peace in Gaza is hereby total immunity. Can't be sued, can't be arrested. What a world we live in.
I can't wait till he's out of office and people start coming at. He's old enough to where he might not make it, but whatever.
Yeah. Anyhow, that's all I got for today, buddy.
I'm
Anything
just
else?
I need him to get what's coming to him.
I don't think
For
he's
some
ever gonna.
reason, I really want him to like face the punishment that he deserves.
I don't think he's gonna. Like I used to think it was gonna happen, but I don't think it's gonna happen at this point. I
They're
think
still
he'll
his kids. They're still his kids.
before he leaves office, he's going to give preemptive pardon to everybody within 100 feet of him, including himself. He's going to find a way to
Yeah.
preemptively pardon himself. I don't know how he's going to do it. And then even if we
Yeah.
try to charge him, it's going to get tied up in the courts, and he's eventually going to die in his Mar-a-Lago villa, a free man without ever really facing consequences. Like he'll drag this out for years and years and years if they even try to charge him.
Crazy.
The real him getting what's coming to him is going to happen after he dies, like years from now in history books. Like that's when it's going to be revenge time on him. So I hope, cross my fingers.
Yeah. When he goes to hell.
Yeah. We'll see. So all right, you got anything else, brother?
No, that's it, man.
All right, I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Later.
Peace.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.